right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. One of the bigger interesting stories is the competitor list that just got released for this weekend's Legion Sports Festival, which will be on October 9th. Now, one of the most interesting parts about this list was the fact that Justin Rodriguez is on it. This will be his comeback show this year, and I know it's I guess it's kind of corny to call it a comeback show since he's only been away for a couple of months, but he was on a spree of competing back to back to back at all these shows, and his placings weren't getting any better. His physique seemed to be tired, getting worse. And then after that, he announced he was going to shut things down for the rest of the year. He said he wasn't going to do the Olympia. He started working with George Farah, so he's got a new coach now, and he is still working with George. And even though he said he wasn't going to compete again for the rest of the year, there was still kind of this question of will he do the Olympia if he's qualified? Because right now, if you look at the point standings list, he is in the top three for points. And the top three for points are who gets to go to the Olympia. The guys that didn't win a show, if they have enough points, they still get to go to the Olympia. So top three is Andrea Musi with 29, Theo LaGuerrier with 28, and Justin Rodriguez with 26, 2 points ahead of Steve, and a full 7 points ahead of the next nearest guy, who is Quint Beastwood. So he actually has decent odds of getting to the Olympia on points based on this. So let's look at this actual Legion competitor list here. So you got a couple recognizable names here. You got Tonio Burton, Jamie Christian Jahal. You've got Stan De Longu, or Stanimal, and Stan has been looking pretty good lately. Probably some of the best physique updates that I've seen from him. You got Rafael Del Real, Stephen Frazier, Iron Gali, Carlos Rodriguez Hernandez, Kenneth Jackson, Eric Langloss, Jojo Natifero, Jorge Abraham Trejo Reyes, Carlos Emmanuel Longoria Rodriguez, Justin Rodriguez, and Pavel Vishenko, as well as Todd Whiting. So the names that really stand out to me are Tonio Burton, Jamie Christian Jahal, Stanimal, and Justin. So as long as Justin is able to place in this lineup and earn points, he doesn't even necessarily have to win. If he earns a few more points by placing well here, I think he would find himself in a very solid point standing with, we've been through a lot of shows now. There's very few shows left between now and the Olympia, and a lot of the guys that are going to be qualifying at this shows are guys that still need to win a show to qualify, and the points probably aren't going to do a whole lot for a lot of those guys that are still competing. So if Justin does get a few more points by placing here, he would likely qualify on points, and then obviously if he wins this show, he would definitely qualify because a victory in the Pro League is an automatic qualification. So that seems to be Justin's goal. Now, I do have one physique update from Justin. I knew that Justin was doing this show. He had told me a while ago, but he wanted me to keep it a secret. He hadn't really made this announcement publicly, and they were planning on keeping it under wraps until the week of the show. And now it is the week of the show. We've got one physique update from Justin, this side shot here. And again, it really doesn't look like this is the deepest lineup. I don't think Justin is going to have any trouble placing here as long as he doesn't come in crazy off. Admittedly, he doesn't look as tight to me here as he looked during the peak week for the Arnold Classic. I guess we'll see, but right now, I think Justin is my pick to win. Tonio Burton, kind of my pick for runner-up, and Jamie Jahal, I think, should be top three, and I think Stanimal will be in that first call-out. But those are really the three guys. Tonio Burton has really impressed me at the past recent shows that he's done, and I think it'll probably be between him, Justin, and Jamie, a.k.a. the Giant Jahal. Now, next up in the news, I wanted to talk a little bit more about Lionel Beyeke. So obviously by now, everybody knows that Lionel was off at this past weekend's Yamamoto Pro Cup France. It was much anticipated whether or not he was going to come compete. No one really knew. He's blown off a lot of shows, and now everybody knows how he looked. He did not look great. We've already talked about that at length. That's not necessarily what I want to talk about here. The thing that I found interesting is I was going back on Lionel's page, and he had a post at 15 weeks out, a physique update, 15 weeks out from the Arnold Classic UK, so 16 weeks out from this Yamamoto Cup. So he was starting his prep. He prepped, or theoretically he prepped for 15 weeks, but he started his prep for the Arnold UK 15 weeks ago, and now he looked like this on stage. I'm kind of convinced there might be something more to this story other than he just didn't diet, because honestly, he looks better at 15 weeks out, much better actually, than he looked on stage. You can see more separation in the quads. He looks rounder, fuller. His physique almost looks tighter in this 15 weeks out update than he looked on stage. So something had to have happened, something major. I don't think it was just that he can't diet, because if that was his starting point, 15 weeks of some kind of dieting, between that and this show should have been an improvement from what we saw 15 weeks out. I just thought it was interesting that there was this update that he was starting his prep that long ago. And at the beginning of his prep, he didn't look bad. Lionel looked good. He had a good amount of muscle mass. He looked really full. He looked pretty standard for how we've seen Lionel look in the past. So I'm curious to get a statement from Lionel as to what actually happened here, what went wrong, because I don't believe that it was just he didn't diet hard enough. I don't believe that he's washed up. I don't believe this is just the best he could bring. It's not. I think something major happened that interrupted this prep, whether it was an injury, whether he got off gear. I don't know, but something big must have happened for him to look the way he looked based on this 15 weeks out update. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below on what that could have been. Now, next up in the news, we've got a physique update from Nick Walker today, a fan favorite. Obviously, Nick Walker has one of the biggest and fastest growing fan bases I've seen in bodybuilding a long time. One of the freakiest guys for his size that we've seen in a very long time. Crazy amount of mass for that frame, for that height. His recent physique update, he's really tightening up. His midsection looks good. You can see that things are starting to flow for him well during this kind of crunch time period of the prep. But Nick looks very impressive to me here. A lot of people, I've seen a lot of comments on my videos of people saying that Nick will be the one to eventually dethrone Big Ramy. And I found that interesting because Nick Walker got Big Ramy's attention with this post. Big Ramy commented some flexing emojis. And I thought that was interesting because it's not very often I see Big Ramy comment on other bodybuilders' posts, so I thought it was a little bit of a rarity to see him in the comment section of Nick Walker's, and Nick responded and said, "Let's give them a show, bro." So as far as freaky bodybuilders in the Olympia lineup right now, I think Nick Walker is one of the freakiest. I think Andrew Jacked is one of the freakiest. And then, of course, Big Ramy is the biggest, the freakiest. Big Ramy's kind of all those things. So those are the three guys right now that I see as having the most wow factor on stage, potential commanding stage presence for all three of those guys. Who do you guys think is the most legitimate threat to Big Ramy right now? We can't forget about Brandon Curry. We can't forget about Hadi Chupin. You've got this looming threat of potentially Michael Krizo on the Olympia stage. A lot of newcomers this year at the Olympia, Nick Walker being one of them, catching Big Ramy's attention with this post here. Can Nick Walker dethrone Ramy this year? Who is going to be the guy if Big Ramy does not win this year? Who is going to be the guy that's going to take the title from him? That is what I'm most curious to hear your guys' opinion on because there's so much talent right now. It's really, really hard to say. And the final story that I have for you guys today, Calum Von Moger pled guilty yesterday to some of the charges against him. The source of this is news.com.au. That's where most of the Calum Von Moger situation reporting has been coming from, was this particular site. Now, apparently during that pleading, Calum's lawyer cited that his Calum's mental health had been spiraling over the last year or so, and he attributed that to the lack of hormones. And also the article cites that Calum was, the lawyer said that Calum was apparently traumatized from so many carjackings that he was involved in while living in LA, and that led to kind of a trauma response in this situation. I believe this is all referring to the machete situation, the road rage incident. But what he pled guilty to was carrying a prohibited weapon and intentionally damaging property, as well as careless driving, and I guess his sentencing is going to be in a couple months in November. So that's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. Let me know what you guys thought in the comment section down below. Make sure you leave a like, a big thumbs up if you did in fact enjoy it. And as always, I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.
Dancing in the good light, everybody's feeling warm and bright. It's such a fine and natural sight. Dancing in the good light, everybody's feeling warm and bright. It's such a fine and natural sight. Everybody's dancing in the good light. Everybody's dancing